Hello, this is Joe of Tikenside once again, and I'm gonna be bringing you that video I promised you guys a while ago. It's been a bit of a while, but I've had a couple of technical issues on my part. I didn't get everything up and running that I wanted to, so I'm just gonna have to grin and bear it for this video. Um, I will be starting this is going to be the first in pretty long series of stuff that is going to tackle things to do with games that a lot of people aren't really going to be thinking about, but really should. Well, at least I think that they should. Um, so yeah, it's going to be. I'm not going to say a more serious series, but a little bit less fun in games than the previous Let's Play series have been. Um, well, obviously this because it's not going to be a Let's Play. Um, First off, you'll know that, well, you probably recognize by now there's no sound on this video at all. And that's because of, well, that weird lag spike I kept having in the last video I did. With these headphones on, it's pretty deafening. And I hope the sound quality of the mic is a bit better this time. Unfortunately, I won't be able to know until it's actually up. I did a test run and it was fine, but like like I've just said, I won't know until it's up, so I'll know when you all know. Alright, so let's get started. As you probably can tell from the title of the video, it's gonna be on the subject of someone called Paulo Freire, or Freire, I don't know how to say it. He was a Brazilian he was a Brazilian philosopher. Some people call him a philosopher, some people call him an educator, some people call him an academic. He was born in 1921 and died in 1997. He was banished from Brazil at some point in his life. I can't give you the exact um, date, but he was banished for um, for essentially what the charge was being treasonous, but the reality of the matter is he was trying to educate people how to read and write in order for them to know their basic human rights, which, at the time in Brazil that was seen as being antagonistic towards the current government. Though while he was banished, he did um, stay in contact with academics within Brazil, and he was very influential in bringing Brazil's education system to some sort of the he brought it to some sort of like notable improvement. Um, Eventually, though, his banishment was lifted, and he was allowed back into Brazil and became. I can't remember the exact role, and I'm sorry for this is just going to be it is essentially just a brief intro into who he is, but so if you really want to know more, feel free to wiki him or Google him because there's a ton of stuff online for him. But when he was welcomed back into Brazil, he was welcomed back in a position of significant enough power to make changes to the educational system. And it's he it's his ideas presented in these changes that I'm going to talk about in this video and how they link into the gaming industry um, is though I will finish. I'm sorry, I'm so jittery today. It's been a bit of a long day. Um, he wrote a book called The Pedagogy of the Oppressed. So if you want to learn more about his stuff, I would Google it. But if you Google his name, I will probably spell it out at the end of the video. He will. You'll most likely find a whole bunch of stuff on this book, and you'll find out, well, you'll find out the book. You'll find it no problem. I just did a quick Google search and you'll find out how to spell it, how to get it, where to get it, and some places you can get it pretty cheap. And I haven't read it yet, but it's supposed to be a pretty good read, especially if you're interested in, education and, you know, civil rights and whatnot. And the thing he's actually most famous for is his writing techniques. His techniques in educating people how to read and write have been imitated and used across the world in a lot of less fortunate areas, starting in Brazil and going as far as India and Africa and just right the way across the world. And the game's gonna restart soon, so I better keep this video short. Um, right, back to business. In the Pedagogy of the Oppressed, he mentions something called a banking educational system. And the banking educational system is, it's that, thought that wouldn't take any health off me. I don't know why. The banking educational system, anyway, is to do with the ideology of that educational system. So, if an educational system is focused on this, well, banking system, it basically just tells you what you need to know in order to achieve an adequate output out of you as an individual, which means in terms of, say, school, you're told what you need to pass your exams. Now, immediately when I found out about this, I drew probably the only person to have drawn this in the lecture hall, because I found out about this in university. I drew a immediate parallel between that and the gaming industry, which kind of was the inspiration behind this whole video. You see, with the marketing strategies of most games, you're told a lot. You're obviously going to be told all the good things, which makes sense because that's what's going to sell the product at the end of the day, and a game is a product. But it's gotten to the point where if anyone says anything that deviates from this, anything bad about said product, then they're often penalised by other gamers. And I personally believe it's because of this system. Because the gaming publishers and developers more often than not it is their job to sell the game, so they're only focusing on the positives. They are only going to be focusing on, say, I don't know, what features the game has, what's going to make you buy the game, even to the point of dangling carrots in front of potential customers' faces. I mean, more recently we saw this with games like Aliens Colonial Marines, where they brought out a demo, showed a whole bunch of reviewers and whatnot the demo. They all went out and said, this demo is awesome, this game is going to be awesome, you should definitely look out for this game. And then all what they needed to do after that was just focus on getting their marketing campaign out properly, and people were going to buy it straight away. And that's the idea. They basically just released information to do with how good their game is going to be, and there was no information on how bad it was going to be. And I can see what a lot of people here are kind of just going to go straight off and say, well, they're not going to go out and say their game sucks. That's stupid. Well, it is stupid, but the point I'm making is that before these games come out, we have no clue what they're going to be like. So game developers and game publishers, they want us to still buy this game. I've got a bit of lag so I can't see him. There he is, popped in. And we're only told so much, and it's up to us really to kind of sit back and look at what we know and what we have available to us and kind of see what it is that we should be looking for in these games. And we can look at all sorts of games here. All the game needs is a good marketing campaign and it'll sell well. And that's all the output they need to really put in it. In reality, anyway. Ideally, the amount of input they need to put into it. Ideally, the amount of input they should be putting into it is, hard work, listening to fan feedback, putting out maybe some gameplay and some demos along the line. Maybe it would depend purely on the game to show off the features that are gonna be included in the game. What they shouldn't be doing is dangling a carrot in front of a gamer's head and saying, hey, if you buy this game before it comes out, then you're gonna get a shiny new skin for a gun, or you're gonna get a character 2 days before everyone else because you did it. You bought the game before anyone else did, before it was even out, before you knew what it was going to look like. And to us, so that we could basically just shove whatever we wanted into the game. We've saw it before. Dragon Age 2 is another example. The marketing campaign for that was good. We all saw that CGI trailer. We all got really excited. At least anyone who played the first one did. And then we got the end result, and it was nothing like anyone expected it to be. It was pretty awful, you know. And like I've previously mentioned multiple times now, we see this all the time. We see companies like EA saying that DLC is going to be good for the game, even day one DLC. If we didn't have day one DLC, we'd have an entire department in the development companies just doing nothing. I for one kind of disagree with that, because most games now have planned DLC, and as far as I'm concerned, if they are going to be working on anything during that kind of grace period, they should start working on this, planned DLC that's going to come out further along the line and improve the quality of the game. That's just my opinion.